Oh my gosh. You did that on purpose, Dan. I waited.
That was just timing.
Nobody heard that but us. Nobody heard that but us. And I told you V would be back just in time to start laughing.
I heard you, Jeremy.
Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is the Dawnbringers. This is Season 5, Episode 31, Rime of the Frostmaiden. Tonight's episode is called Legends of the Fall. We'll let you just assume that we were talking about how readily the Dawnbringers destroyed Vi the Corrupted / Auriel the Frostmaiden, or as they dubbed her during the fight, Viral, along with Grimskull Castle. But we'll get to that in just a moment. I owe you a domain die because Cole Sparks resubscribed for 17 months in a row. Thank you, Cole, for that. So, speaking of domain dice, those are up above V's head there in the upper right hand corner. You see 110 plus the 3 domain dice. Those are a way that you, the viewers, can influence the game simply by subscribing, sharing bits, tipping. I would actually encourage you to use this new link right here. This isn't a clickable link, but you can go to this URL right here, which is ko-fi or coffee.com/mddjake. I am keeping an eye, especially through this little notification, that any of those one-off tips or monthly supports, whatever, through that link will also earn domain dice for the players. So I would encourage you. Plus, I nuked my Patreon, and this is the place where you can support MTD now. So please do check that out. While you're clicking on the links and checking things out, I would ask you to check out our friend who is hanging out in the chat right now, Talon and Claw. By typing !MTD Claw, you can follow the link to their Etsy shop. All kinds of cool dice vaults and DM screens and laser engraved stuff. If you're following their social media, you saw their awesome We Have the Meats Arby's themed dice vault, to which Arby's replied and sent dice and my absolute favorite thing that I laughed out loud, an exclusive set of meat sweats. A sweatsuit, zippered hoodie, and sweatpants that are full on printed with roast beef from Arby's, and they are registered trademark called Meat Sweats.
And it's incredible, and it's a shame that it has a little bit of a missed opportunity to just have meat across the butt of the pants.
Right? You know what?
I don't know.
Anthony hasn't shown that, though. But we don't know that they don't say meat on the back.
It needs to
show
have
the
two
butt.
hands on the back.
Hey, Anthony, does it have meat on the butt? He's in the chat.
So anyway, in addition to their meat sweats, check out !MTD Claw. When you purchase stuff there, you can use code MTD Claw at checkout and get 10% off of your order. Dwight started a hashtag, show the butt. Be careful with that hashtag. Talon Claw says there are pictures coming soon. We've all immediately asked for him to model the meat sweatsuit, so which is a phrase I never thought I would say before. So take it, Dan. Moving on.
Saw it. Can't.
Right. I would also like to ask you to check out our other partner and sponsor, Run Right Play. Our good friend Keel has built an amazing community of collaboration, and Though we can't readily say what it is, some of us might be collaborating with Keel behind the scenes as we speak on some future projects. So do check out Run Right Play on Patreon, and just see what they have to offer, including their digital and physical zine that they put out every month, and some other games and things that they've done before. Oh, sweet. Anthony's saying he's going to be on Nerdarchy Live tomorrow with Dave, and he just might be wearing the meat sweats. So check that out. Let's see. I already told you about the link here in the domain dice. The last thing I have to tell you before we play some Dungeons and Dragons is, of course, our most important message, and that is that you matter. You might not think you do, but trust me, you do. Your presence makes a difference here in this world. But you might be struggling, as so many of us are or have been, and that's okay. But we don't want you to struggle without having somewhere to go to get help. Jeremy has just typed !help in the chat. It's that simple. You can type that here in our chat. You will see a URL at the end of that message. Please click on that link right now and bookmark it. Save it for yourself. Save it for a friend. It is findahelpline.com. Just this week, I gave it to somebody who was concerned about a friend and wanted to know what they could do. And I gave them that website because I have it memorized. And I said, if you get a chance to talk with them, share this with them, let them know that there's resources out there. So we want you to use that. Take advantage of it. No matter what you might be struggling with, there you just put in where you are located in the world, and it will come back with a list of various resources that are available. With that, I think it's time to play some Dungeons and Dragons. Many of you may have noticed, as I said, this is episode 31 so far. As we knew going into it, this season is our longest season by about 5 episodes so far. And we probably have a couple more. It's going to be determined by the players and the characters and what they choose to do. They do have at least 1 or 2 major goals that they want to accomplish. But we do know that we're sort of in that descending arc of this season. But we don't know yet, or rather I do. They don't know what yet is in store for them. But most recently, having traveled far and near all across Icewind Dale, possibly leaving a team of sled dogs and a robot at the base of a mountain, who knows how long ago, the adventurers took to the air in a big floating Duergar castle, where they fought their one-time friend, turned enemy, turned temporary ally, turned definite enemy, Vi, the druid, who did briefly help them battle against Auriel the Frostmaiden, during which Auriel's rock, her giant bird, was killed, ending her ability to take to the sky every night and cast her magic. Within just a day or two, they tracked the fallen Auriel and Vi to Auriel's castle of Grimskull, located on the island of Solstice in the Sea of Moving Ice. They faced trials and tribulations and received some things, rescued their old friend Victor, who was a spectator, is now Victor the Beholder, who is a beholder daddy, I guess, as he has 10 gazers floating around him. He's with them. He helped to take on Vi and Auriel combined. And through excessive use of force, the Dawnbringers destroyed the Frostmaiden and Grimskull along with it. Fortunately, through the clever and quick thinking use of Featherfall, they jumped out the windows and descended 600 feet to the island below, where at the very end, in sort of a post-credit scene, Thorgarn heard from inside the hat that he wears, which is Fig's hat of holding. He heard Fig's voice, and reached in and pulled out Fig's head, and to which Fig said, "What is going on and where is my body?" Now, part of that was because we were expecting M to join us tonight. Unfortunately, M will not be with us tonight. And of course, as you've noticed already, Goblin Katie is not feeling well and is not with us as well. But M and hopefully Goblin Katie will return next week. And we will continue with that. But I'm going to pick up at that exact point where you're holding Fig's head in your hands, Thorgarn, and you notice that it's not exactly corporeal. Because as you'll remember, back in Dugan's Rest, the Belloc the Malevolent, the Chardelin Dragon, disintegrated Fig's head, leaving the mind gems on the ground. What you see is an almost spectral form. And even as you're holding it, and Fig has said, "What has happened to my body?" you see it sort of glitching, and as if Fig is struggling to hold that form. What would you like to do?
So I would basically, call out to everybody else. We're battle weary from, the big fight and the flea and everything else over the last several days worth of carnage. Emotion is welling up as I'm physically holding what is a spectral form. He'll just call out, hold on, we'll get this fixed. We'll figure out what needs to be done. Don't worry. Your body's here.
Do the rest of us see Fig's head?
I mean, yeah, you all descended around, okay. Thorgarn staying in the midst of all of you. You do not hear Fig's voice, though. Thorgarn, you only hear this in your head.
Okay. So, because, I know, I don't know if we're altering, the post-credits scene, but I thought we were hearing it from the hat.
Oh.
Did I only hear it in my head then?
No, you heard it from the hat.
Okay. All right. So I will pull out the body and can I do anything with this? Can I examine it in any way, shape, or form?
The body or the spectral head?
The head. I'll literally, Thorgarn is not the most intelligent in the ways of magic. He would be kind of holding it out towards, Drown and Cantriel and Rollo, almost pleadingly, what do we do?
None of you hear anything. You just see this sort of spectral image of Fig's head, and it just seems to sort of be glitching in and out. It has the same arcane blue as Fig's magic is usually represented in. But Thorgarn, you hear, "Don't understand. I can't hold form. Trying." Talmud, are you sticking your finger in?
Yeah, I'm reaching out to touch it.
You don't feel anything. Your finger would pass right through the magic.
You'd feel Cantriel swatting his hand.
You feel a sudden sting of Cantriel slapping the back of your hand.
Why must you touch everything?
He's touching it. Kind of points to Thorgarn.
Yes, well, they kind of have a connection.
Do we need to make him a new head? Do we need to put this in the body? Please, somebody offer something.
Put it near the head.
Connect.
Put the body near the head.
Can't connect.
Try hanging up and calling back. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Jiggle the wires.
Please hang up and try again.
Do we still have the Mind Stones?
They're in the hat. Pull them out too.
Somebody roll me a d20 and add 10 to it.
12.
Nice.
Rollo never seen
done.
anything like this before. Rollo has a plus 10 to Arcana. That was great.
I mean,
Good job. All right, so I'll put the two big gems and a handful of the smaller gems on, the chest cavity or the chest of.
So you open up the body. If you remember, you reconfigured the body into a sphere in order to store it in the hat.
That is true. Could I figure out?
Yeah,
you remember how
you were the one that knew how to sort of work basically like a transformer toy.
Okay, well,
At this point, being a sphere, it's basically what is it? Omnicron? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Unicron. Yes, Unicron.
So try to
don't put anything in that.
Transform it back to a body.
Say that again.
We try to transform it back into a body.
Yeah, you don't have to make any skill checks or anything. You know how to work this. It just takes you a few minutes to sort of move things, and it's sort of like it's magical. The body is, so it's kind of assisted as once you start reconfiguring. Eventually, less than 5 minutes later, you have Fig's full body laid out.
Talmud comes walking over, and as he gets closer, he then presents the head that he's made out of snow, in case he needs a new one. It's not my best work, but it might fit. He, fits it on the body.
Thorgarn just looks at you with just like this deadpan expression of like, what is wrong with you, cousin?
It makes as much sense as the rest of Fig.
if you were a snowman.
Do you want to be a snowman?
Did the lessons of Moradin just completely leave you, cousin?
If you've got a spare one lying around, I'm sure Fig would love to have it.
Talmud learned about Moradin?
He skipped class that day.
A little bit. Every dwarf does.
Interesting.
How long have we been traveling together? You absolutely have to know the difference between metal and snow. Come on.
Again, like, if you've got another one, I'm sure it would be better than a snow one. But if nothing, then maybe this is better. I don't know.
So am I able to touch the Mind Stone of Fig and get a better connection to...
You're attuned to both stones.
Yes. But if I physically hold it in my hand, does that give me any kind of better conversation with him?
So,
or is it still kind of glitchy?
When you grab hold of it with the intent to communicate, the synthetic arcane head just completely vanishes, and you hear clear in your head, I had a tenuous grasp on the physical construct. I don't seem to be able to hold it.
Fig, you are much smarter than I am. Do we need to make you a new head? I don't understand the magic the way that you do. our new companion Rolo is intelligent, but she's never seen anything like this before.
It will take time. We are weary. I can feel your weariness. We will have to rest. I may be able to construct something.
Can we hear Thorgarn's part of the conversation? Is he speaking out loud?
Are you speaking out loud, Thorgarn?
I would imagine that even if like the thoughts would go just mentally, Thorgarn would be talking out loud whenever he talks to Fig. It's no different than when he turns and talks to Father Griffin. He's used to people looking at him weird when he's only doing half of a conversation.
Fair enough. Thanks.
And at least, gives you guys half of the exposition. So it's a win-win situation.
Rolo doesn't want to tell you what to do, but maybe we should go somewhere. Or I can make Rolo's House of Affirmation. And you notice Rolo has after you've all settled down, it takes a couple attempts to sort of flap her wings and fly up to Cantriel's shoulder. Rolo's in a bad way. I just saw how many hit points Rolo has.
That was, yeah.
Drown is solidly bloodied as well. Do we wish to return to our house in good mead?
Do we even have the energy to do that?
Yes.
Truth be told, the mansion's a little more comfortable.
True.
The mansion is comfortable, and if we wanted to attempt, or wanted me to attempt, to make Fig a new head, the magic of the mansion would allow me to have access to a forge, Rolo willing.
Correction, it's in Lonelywood, not good. Oops.
Then mansion it is, or I'm tiny hutting it. So we can either rough it or live in the lap of luxury.
I'll take the lap.
I could do with some luxury.
I guess I should check to make sure Rolo has that spell.
Wasn't it still up or no?
It was in the
buried.
It was up, but it was in the basement of the now destroyed Grimskull.
Right. That's right.
What is that thing called? It's
Mordenkainen's Magnificent Mansion.
That is
Able Rolo?
Rolo's House of Affirmation. Yeah.
Guess what?
Searching D&D Beyond doesn't return that one.
Are we
usually.
roughing it?
Just like
Nope.
Figby's hand.
No, you're good. It's 7th level. Is that right? And Rolo has 1 7th level slot.
Cool.
So Rolo will cast the Rolo's House of Affirmations, I believe it was called. You've seen the Solstice, the little bit of time you've been here seems stable. There's no reason to be too concerned. So Rolo has just cast it, and the door appears glistening, almost difficult to see in the now bright daylight of Icewind Dale. Thank you, Mischievous Red, for the raid. That's going to earn the Dawnbringers a domain die.
Thank you.
So you are able to enter, see, as soon as you walk in, you are, of course, greeted by numerous kobolds that come to each of you in turn, giving you affirming hugs. You did such a wonderful job. Good work. Also providing snacks and cocoa, telling you that beds are prepared. Rollo gives some instructions to some in Draconic. So those of you that speak Draconic or understand it would understand that Rollo has magically altered a section of the mansion to have forge facilities in it as well. So the time is yours. You are all safely inside the House of Affirmation. What would you like to do?
Talmud's gonna approach Thorgarn at one point when it looks like maybe he's like getting things set up for the forge, and almost like with his hat kind of in his hand, so to speak, he approaches and waits for Thorgarn to address him. Do you need any help with anything? Or
It would be absolutely amazing if you were to assist me here. I know you care about Fig as much as I do.
I do.
Honestly, if we could all kind of, pull together, I don't know if what I'm doing is of a benefit to Fig. If Fig's got the ability to just magically create what he needs to come back, it's always been a mystery to me. I don't want to insult the friend that's not here, but normal people can't turn into a ball like he does. He's magically been pulled away from us a couple of times. He is more arcane than anyone else that I've ever interacted with. So I don't know how many more tricks he's got up his metal sleeves. But
Well, at the moment, all that I know is that Fig seems to need our help, and that's what we're here for. And rather than having to worry about making it perfect, Thorgarn, sometimes just the attempt will do. Make something for Fig, and I'm sure it will be good enough, at least for now.
so out of game, what is the major component of Fig's body? Is he brass? Is he bronze?
Copper.
Is he copper?
So Fig's body was... Fig had claimed the construct vessel for Figure 1 Copernicus, his original form and the maker of all three figures, and had basically switched out his head to fit on this new body. So Fig's new body its base construction is copper, but you know that Fig also can alter its appearance at will.
All right. Well, I don't have anything that is bronze or copper. I've got gold written down, but like all of my gold is just in straight gold pieces. I've got a handful of things that are made of iron and steel and what have you in my inventory. So Thorgarn would basically go to everybody else and find out what kind of metals you all have that might be able to donate, or that I might be able to buy off of you, or whatever.
What are caltrops made out of?
I would imagine iron.
Iron or steel.
Iron.
Yeah.
So that's... I'm not gonna...
The only
bag of
coinage,
caltrops.
the only coinage I have written down is some gold pieces.
Same.
All right. Well, then screw it.
I have tools, so
I'm
probably
gonna
have
What did you do with all the coin from the ship? Did you leave it on the ship?
left it on the ship. Pretty sure.
Yeah, I was pretty
I know
sure
you
it was
left a
on the
big
ship.
chunk of treasure.
I've got 1,300 gold on my character sheet.
Okay.
That's it. So I know that we had a vast amount of wealth on the ship, but it was like, it's on the boat. Why do we need to carry it all?
Yeah, I mean, I can get you
so-
a decent amount of spare iron or steel. So
Yeah, I've got iron, I've got steel, and I've got gold. So if like nobody else has anything else, then I will totally make a like a steel base and then decorate it with gold on the outside. And I will absolutely inquire. And I hope we have somewhere some kind of parchment or a book that I would implore Cantriel to draw to the best of her memory what we would want this to look like. So I've got something to work off of. I imagine no one's going to draw better than you. You're the most dexterous.
are you trying to get as close as possible to Fig's original head, or just designing something new?
I would imagine getting as close to the facial facade that Fig is used to.
Maybe with a very large mustache now. Very nice.
Big braided beard. Yeah.
He did have a mustache.
All right, so
Is Cantriel a drawer?
She was a sage, so pen in hand has always been something, and bard. I'm gonna,
I mean, the only other one that would give her probably a run for her money is Yesha, who's not here.
Yeah, the Yesha's far away.
So I will do this. I will insert a moment, and when I'm away from everybody but Cantriel drawing, I will pull out Fig's brainstone and find out if there's anything that he might want as an addendum, and insert that into the drawing. And if there's anything that M would want as a change, and this actually works, and everything is successful, it's there. If it's not, or if they don't, then no worries.
Yeah, we can definitely, as far as like the flavor of the appearance, just how things look, all that, we can let M have sort of retroactively have some input on that. There will be a couple of skill checks here. How much time are you going to spend on this drawing, Cantriel?
She'll take her time with it because it's Fig.
Okay.
Not like a quick 5-minute sketch. It'll be something like probably sit there for about an hour or two just to make sure it's proportioned and looking right, catching all those nuanced details. Because she's very perceptive and sees a lot of things that others don't.
Go ahead and make a dexterity roll. You have scribe tools.
I believe I do. Let me just double check. Actually, I don't have scribe tools, but I do have a pen and parchment in my...
I mean, that's good enough. You can, because you're going to take your time with it, you can roll with advantage and add your proficiency bonus in there as well.
Advantage with proficiency.
Then it will be up to Thorgarn to interpret your drawing.
You said this is what, Dex?
Yep.
Okay.
As Thorgarn starts working on this, I'm just going to hear the A-Team montage music in my head.
That's a dirty 20.
Okay. Interpreting Fig's requests through Thorgarn, you're able to draw a really good likeness of what Fig's head previously looked like, possibly with additions. I was just looking through Fig's.
It has like 2 wineskin holders on the side. With, like...
Oh Lord! How about like a little like metallic goatee? Not like full on beard, but like enough where it's like, kidding.
Interchangeable magnetic facial hair.
Clink, clack.
Like
Magniform.
expressions.
Yep.
Like, eyebrows.
Adjustable
Do
eyebrows.
Iron filings, and it could be like a
Like that guy. What was his name?
Wooly Willy.
Wooly Willy.
Thank you.
We'll see how
Thorgarn
good.
would absolutely be down for magnetic beards.
We'll see how good Thorgarn's ultimately the crafting of this is. It may allow for expressive features.
And then Cantriel will pat Thorgarn on the back and hand the piece of paper over, and I believe in your abilities. And she's gonna give you the last bardic inspiration before she takes her next rest. That's D10.
All right. What are you using for your source material?
So I figured this should be something that was meaningful to me. So as I said, I'm going to kind of decorate it with just straight up melted gold coins. But my original Warhammer, I'm gonna melt down.
That's a big chunk of metal, I think.
Yeah, it should be, solid enough. A Warhammer is a good solid 2 pounds. I think that should be more than sufficient to be able to make the facade that the gems sit in, because I've seen his head opened up.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. And then be able to decorate it with the gold coins. And you can just let me know however much it needs. I'm down for it. 50 coins is a pound. So I wouldn't imagine it would be more than that, but
no,
like I said,
so
not anything I'm worried about.
So this is going to require a couple of different skill checks, and the others can help if they wish. Cantriel has already assisted with the drawing and the inspiration. Because of the magical nature of Mordenkainen's, a lot of the basic materials have been provided in the forge, so you have access to the tool sets, the anvils, all that. You have a hammer that can be both a hammer and an anvil. That's not a problem. But the other tools that you have is you have the sand and the makings for the clay, because you're going to have to sculpt this and create a mold that you can then pour into into this to create this thing. And so you've got the mold making, the making of the item itself, and then the final step. So there's going to be 3 checks that you're going to be doing.
Right.
How?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, who and how would you others assist with this?
Talmud's going to be doing anything that Thorgarn needs, as far as holding pieces with tongs while he hits it with the hammer, or
tongs or tongs.
Either way, tongs. Oh, I mean, whatever. Yeah, sure.
Sorry, I just imagine Talmud is helping Thorgarn out, and for whatever reason, Talmud is only wearing a leather apron, boots, and gloves.
Did you say thongs?
That's what it sounded like you
bongs.
said. See, that's what I said was tongs or thongs, and now we got bongs involved.
Look, this has become.
I asked you.
This has become a much more interesting montage.
I asked you how you wanted to help. Far be it from me to say what your help looks like.
Just taking big rips and blacksmithing. It's just a Saturday. No big deal.
As one does. Yeah, I mean, Drown probably just doing forge apprentice shit, like pumping bellows and holding hot pieces with tongs and or thongs, however we decide to do it.
We need a Dawnbringers calendar.
So, Thorgarn, damn it, you will be able to make your checks at advantage, and you will be adding your proficiency bonuses. And if there's any, I don't know if you get any other bonuses for your forging abilities.
It would just be I'm proficient in forge, smith tools.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be whatever stat you feel is appropriate to whatever's going on.
Well, I think you
didn't already have advantage. My plan was to use enhance ability as well, but it doesn't sound like that's necessary.
Nope. So for the first check is going to be in the making, following Cantriel's directions, the sketch, and making the actual mold. And your roles are less determining your success, because this is something you're skilled at. It's more determining how long this process is going to take and how successful is the final project or product. So, so go ahead and I'm going to have you tell me what skills you're using for each of these checks.
So you said it. I have to do the mold. I have to do the making,
and then the plating,
and then the plating. So I would imagine, that the first one is just going to be, there's no skill. It's dex and smith's tools.
Sure.
Unless someone else can think of something different.
You've got 2 apprentices here, and you have the assist from Cantriel if you need it. So go ahead and roll that up. That's with advantage, and that's using your proficiency bonus as well.
Right. So that's a 18.
Okay. The making of the mold. This is something that's a little new for you. You're used to forging raw steel, creating weapons, armor, and items like that. You are successful. The mold is very Spartan. It's functional, but you're not able to work in a lot of the finer details. You're just not used to working with this material. So some of the additional details may have to be something you add on later as embellishments if you want. But it is functional. It's to size. You've taken all the appropriate measurements. So that one is done. And it takes you come on, I can't pick any single die up. Jeez. That's going to take you about 3 hours to fully develop that mold.
Sure. So the
next step is the actual melting down and pouring of the mold. This one is not a high level of difficulty for this.
This one I feel is more just brute strength. Just beating things down and melting it.
You're breaking apart that warhammer. Getting all of the handle out of the way and stripping it down, any of the wood and leather components. And just using the crucible and having to, as you said, using your brute strength to just handle those elements and pour it. So roll away.
Well, thank God for advantage, so I don't have to worry about that natural 1 there. I can use the 16 for a total of 25.
For a total of 25, yeah. This is something you're used to working with. You working with the hot metal in its various states is just comes naturally. The strength isn't a problem, so you're able to melt it down and pour it with very little. I would even go so far as to say you don't have to worry about what Jeremy said in the side chat. There's no mold lines that are terrible that have to be scraped away or anything like that. It's actually a really good pour, really good mold, and it doesn't take long at all. This part this only takes you less than 2 hours to complete this. So you're up to 3 hours for the making. So you're at about 4.5 hours into this project so far. The final step is melting down the gold and gold plating. Actually, there is one final step after that I forgot about. So there will be a fourth step because you have to actually integrate Fig's Mind Stone into and the stones into this. So,
all right. So I'm going to go back to saying this one is, fine detail work. So it's going to go back to dexterity. So I imagine this is probably going to be, going back to Cantriel's drawing, looking and comparing. If we have any wood, of any kind of size, I mean, we'll ask the kobolds of affirmation if there's anything in here that we might be able to kind of draw on with chalk or what have you, so as opposed to putting the metal onto paper, which just burns, put it onto the wood to get the exact sizing. So they can be like, all right, we've already got the head.
Drown will go out and grab some planks from a shipwreck or just rip them off one of the docks, that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's definitely wood that was sourceable from outside that wouldn't be too terribly difficult to acquire. So
get you a stack of planks that you can use.
Real world knowledge coming in useful.
Drown.
I don't know if anybody actually watches Forged in Fire, but
oh god, yes.
Drown.
What are you doing? Don't water quench that.
You mentioned going to the docks.
Yes.
Because you know that when you landed the fortress there, you splintered apart part of the dock. So
yeah,
there's plenty of wood readily available there. But as you approach the docks, you notice that the fortress is nowhere to be found.
Oh, it's just gone? I figured it would be rubble in the bay.
It is gone.
Interesting. Okay.
So do with that what you will.
Fascinating. And Drown just has a moment and goes, huh. And then goes and rips some planks up out of the dock.
So we would, transfer, and Thorgarn will probably, have a couple things and be like, all right, well, I'm chucking this one and going back to, going back to square one if need be, to make sure that things are as perfect as possible here. I don't care as much about the lower levels, but the detail work has got to be pristine, has got to be perfect. So this is what I've been saving the inspiration for, regardless of what shows up on the dice. So what is your die? D8 or D10?
D10
at this level.
I believe
D10?
it's D10. Yeah.
Yes, a D10.
Awesome. All right. So still have the advantage, correct?
Yep. Yes, indeed.
So we are at a 27.
This is excellent gold plating. You find the gold to be extremely easy to work with, and with the assists of everyone involved, you would be hard pressed when it's completed to tell that this wasn't a solid gold head to begin with. It's just, you just did a really good job with it.
I mean, advantage +7 to the roll and bardic inspiration, which I rolled a 6 on. I'm pretty happy with that.
This, because of taking your time with it and the delicate work involved, takes you another couple hours. So you've put about 6.5, almost 7 hours into crafting this this replacement head for I almost said Cantriel. Wait, no. For Fig. It is a wonderful physical representation, but at this point, it is an empty vessel.
Now comes the difficult part. What does it take to realign? And I would be talking to Rolo, Cantriel, and Drown again, who are much smarter than I am, how do we think we would reconnect Fig's mind to this? And
can I do an Arcana check for Cantriel to see if she had any type of, I don't know if there's like something?
a previous conversation with Fig, or
Yeah, I would say go ahead, make an Arcana.
Okay. Okay, that is going to be a 30.
Yeah.
You know from conversations with Fig and what you know. I would even imagine conversations with any of the others who have seen the inner workings. Talmud probably has had the most direct look at the inner workings. You know that what was inside Fig's head was mostly comprised of magical energy surrounding this Mind Stone and the stones that orbited it. That while there were lots of gears and mechanisms, they were arcane in nature. You suspect, you're pretty confident with a 30 that it's just a matter of Thorgarn. You would have to unattune to Fig's Mind Stone, place it within, reassemble Fig, and the rest is up to Fig.
Okay. So I guess at that point in time, work being done. I guess we take our long rest, and during that rest, I will unattune to the stones.
All right. Anybody else have anything that they want to do during this time? Well, I guess most everybody was working with Thorgarn. So by this point, on top of the day you've had and the fight and going right into doing this and still having not slept, it's actually getting in towards evening of the day. You're all pretty tired, in need of this long rest, but is there anything that anybody else wants to do? Any conversations or anything? Or y'all just want to sleep?
Cantriel would scoop up Rollo at some point, assuming Rollo probably fell asleep, and just kind of cradle her and sort of just like hang on to her while she's doing her own meditation until the morning.
All right.
So Thorgarn would pull Talmud aside and try to check in to see how Talmud is considering everything that the Frostmaiden had said.
Well, she was saying a lot just to try to get under my skin. I would like to get back to Yesha as soon as we can, but this was important, so I don't mind taking the time to do it.
So we haven't really discussed a lot, but you seem very attached to this random person in the tower. Why is Yesha so important to you?
Yesha, for a time, her body was shared, I guess is the best way to put it. And the spirit, the soul that inhabited her body along with her for a time was that of my daughters, Rime.
You haven't spoken of a daughter or offspring, and we don't have to go into the whole story. I know it's been shared previously, but Thorgarn would would certainly inquire and basically give you the stage to do or say whatever it is that you need, and or if need be not, whatever his cousin needs.
Yeah, and I think Talmud would be somewhat reticent, but he would relent and tell you the story of what happened, how his daughter had become lost, and by the time that they found her, she had perished, and that it wrecked him for a long time. Drove to him drinking heavily, and eventually leaving home.
And Thorgarn would respond in kind about his own stories of loss, tell the full tale of his previous companions, and as almost ashamed, if that's the right word, but the fact that he fell in love with a gnomish wizard, and before they could really do anything, the adventuring party was lost to all but Thorgarn. He was yet again the only survivor of an attack.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that you've lived through that, Thorgarn. Not only once, but twice, right? That's a kind of pain that I'm not familiar with, thankfully.
I don't know if you heard everything that the Frostmaiden had said, but I am. And he stops for a moment, looks over his right shoulder, as he does, so often, seeking confirmation or affirmation or something. Then looks back to his cousin. We've lost, whether not lost isn't any more than gone, but Griffith is no longer with us. We lost Fig several times, and that's why I've pushed so hard in hopes to try and bring him back. I wonder if I truly fear to be alone, having lost so many. We do so many things that are dangerous, and death's door is frequently right around the corner. The next passageway could be the end. I mean, how many dragons, how many monsters that are powerful enough to be things of legend, yet we continue on. But how long will our luck hold out?
It's not really for us to say. But the reason that we do this is because we can. Because we're the one that can continue going on, where others had to turn back or didn't make it. That's why we do this, and that's why we should continue to do it.
I understand. It's something that it plagues me. I feel that Moradin has chosen me for a reason, and trust me, I'm not lacking of conviction. If anything, having spent some time with the lot of our friends here, and even more so with Fig's thoughts in my head, is feeling a little bit more cerebral and aware of things around me, and just, I don't know, perhaps I just got a different glimpse, different perspective of my own situation.
I can't say that I understand exactly what you mean by that, but you carry with you the lessons of the people that you've had in your life before. You carry them forward in a way that I've never seen before, Thorgarn. And if our time comes, then there will be people who will do the same for us. They'll carry our lessons forward. So in the meantime, we just have to keep doing what we're doing and be confident that it's the right choice.
No, I think it's pretty wise words coming from you, cousin. I'm not certain that you haven't really always been the one to kind of get into that headspace. Now, how about I get it a little bit into yours? How about we go have a drink?
I've already had a couple. Maybe that's why I'm sounding as wise as I am, but I could use a couple more.
So, Thorgarn is probably going to go get smashed and pass out, which he doesn't do.
I guess I'll join him. Shucks.
What about Drown? Anything?
If we must.
I just picture at some point the dwarves go somewhere, they sit down, they start drinking, and then a chair is just pulled aside and the big form of Drown settles in, grabs a mug. What are we drinking?
Oh, I'm gonna say that Thorgarn will make a complete and utter ass of himself, poorly singing, telling tales of whatever have you. Some things might not make sense, so probably fall off the table that he's trying to dance on top of. Everything that you expect from the person who has drunk too much and is not used to doing so.
Oh God. Thorgarn is that guy. All right.
Thankfully, he has a mohawk. So,
so eventually, I just also picture at some point Cantriel and Rollo in some quiet part of the House of Affirmation, and at a particularly boisterous laugh, just one of Cantriel's eyes just sort of opens. Eventually, exhaustion takes over, and everybody settles into sleep or their trance or what have you. Cantriel, when things quiet down and you're able to truly rest, you slip into a deeper state of trance, and you see in your mind's eye a vision of swirling snow that suddenly begins to clear away. And in the midst of the snow, you see what looks like a crater. You see the tracks of polar bears and goblins and wagons. You see in this crater the blood-stained snow and the impression of where Arviatris fell. But there is nothing in this crater save for a single white dragon scale. You see neither flesh nor wings, talon or claw, nor bone remaining in this crater. And as you stand there looking down into this crater and this single white scale at the bottom, there is a dark shadow that momentarily passes overhead. But when you look up, it's just blue sky. Thorgarn, you don't know when you stopped drinking, and whether you passed out or just fell asleep, you don't remember any of that. But you suddenly awaken with a start, lying on the cold floor of a forge. The furnaces are cold. The metal is frosted over, the anvil, the tools. There is a thin rime of frost across them. A thin layer of snow in places. Even as you stand up, a light dusting of snow falls off your shoulders. You hear echoing somewhere around you the voice of Vi, tinged with that internal echoing of the Frostmaiden in your mind. Thorgarn, our champion, touched by Chardolin and blessed by the very will of Aurea. You alone have shown the most promise to bear our standard. How quickly you accepted the blessing. Not even for a moment concerned that you are forsaking that ridiculous divine blacksmith, Moradin. And as you hear that name echoing, you see standing next to the cold forge the aspect of Moradin that you have seen on more than one occasion. The dwarven god of the forge. And he looks at you. And slowly he shakes his head back and forth. He reaches to his belt and pulls a heavy forge hammer, raises it up, and brings it down on top of the anvil, shattering both the anvil and the hammer. And with that loud crack, you awaken with a start. Not covered in snow, not in cold, but in the warmth of Rollo's house of affirmation. A bit sore, being passed out at the table. A bit hungover, but fully rested. As all of you awaken from your long rest. And that's where we're going to take our break. Seems like a good timing, too. And took a bit of a dip there. But...
Mark it. It's a new day.
Yep. Look at that. We've had 2 days in what, 3 streams?
Days
or
days
4
of the
streams?
new rooms.
Yes, days of the new rooms. All right, looks like we're getting a
I don't know.
little
We
bit.
had like three sessions over the course of one day, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we're getting a little bit of a lag spike and some buffering, but we're going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break. And so stick around. We'll see you on the other side of the break and see what the Dawnbringers are going to do next. And we're back. It's the next morning and you're all awake.
So Thorgarn would immediately reach into his equipment and pull out the was it a marble statue? I'm trying to pull it here. Of Moradin that we had found in the treasure hoard. White marble statue of Moradin. That's it. And he would pray.
You reach into
try to.
You had it. Where did you have it?
I was in my backpack.
Okay. So you pull out the statue of Moradin and it's broken into 3 pieces. The head is broken off, and the arm that holds the hammer is also broken off. All the pieces are there; they're just broken.
Yeah, you don't fix marble. Well, crap. So I'm gonna turn and I'm gonna see if Father Griffin is there.
Father Griffin is there.
So he's gonna just turn and look at him, and he's gonna let out this long sigh with the statue in his hand. And if Father Grevin doesn't prompt the conversation, then Thorgarn would say there's a lot we need to talk about if you are willing.
Father Griffin doesn't immediately meet your eye. But he does after a few moments, and you see hurt and disappointment in his eyes. We can talk if that's what you want.
How have I failed?
What makes you think that you failed?
I can see it in your face. I can hear it in your words. I don't think this would have happened by chance. Still holding the pieces of the statue. I've never held myself in high regards. For the longest time, I felt that doom followed me. It was your words and Morden appearing before me himself that gave me any real sense of self, sense of worth. From those moments, I've done the best I could to live up to the ideals, the designs as you taught me, as his teachings taught me. Not many are willing to go into the dangers that we have done. Have I failed?
For all of the teachings of Moradin and everything that you've been taught about faith, about discipline and perseverance, and you did not hesitate for even a moment before you accepted the touch of the Frostmaiden. You may have destroyed her and her vessel and ended her reign, but her touch, her rime, is on your soul. You willingly pushed Moradin aside, pushed aside or ignored all of your teachings. For what? A little bit of extra power?
I never once pushed him away. I did what we thought, or what I thought was necessary for our quest. We have lives on the line. I am tasked with going out and achieving glory for all that is. I'm supposed to do good in the world. How many are willing to stand before that which steals the very light of dawn? How many are willing to stand before a dragon, its breath that melts the flesh right off your bones? If I can remove this through fire, through task, through deed, I will do it. If need be, I will run armor and weaponless out in his name. I don't care for power. I never have. You've known me for decades. If you honestly feel that I would be truly tempted by power, you've never known me.
Drown leans forward. Your god is upset. Yes?
Sounds it.
The oath you swore. Did you not swear it in the service of your god?
I did.
Does it not challenge you to face and overcome tests and challenges? To prove yourself through deeds and not words? To hone yourself, make yourself the best you can possibly be?
It does.
You faced down the wrath of the Frostmaiden. You faced 4 tests and then a 5th that would have left you as a broken statue of ice. And your god is upset that you passed?
It is more akin to the fact, at least so I'm told, the concept of pushing Moradin aside for this token, if you wish to call it power. They're saying that my soul is tainted. But
You turned to worship of the Frostmaiden?
no, never.
I'm shocked that your god is this jealous, but perhaps I should not be.
I don't feel that Moradin would be jealous if mortals such as ourselves, albeit powerful though we might be collectively, we are mortals, and we were able to bring down this creature. She is nothing in comparison to that which the power that Moradin wields.
Even in the face of his derision, you are the most dedicated of us. I do not understand your god.
Thorgarn, do you believe everything that you've said to the Nameless One?
Who is talking?
Father Griffin.
To the Nameless One?
He points to Drown.
Do I believe everything I've said to my companion, that I have completed challenges with courage, that I've continued to work my own body and soul in the name of my God, that I've been known through action and not mere conversation? Absolutely. Do I believe that I still worship and love my God? Yes.
Then why do you think Moradin would turn his back on you?
Still holding the 3 pieces of the statue. I set that down, and I'll tell the words that the Frostmaiden said of the dream that I had, of the tone in your voice, the look on your face. Something has changed. I still do what I do. I don't feel any different. I don't feel that I'm any less of a champion, any less of a dwarf, any less of a smith than I was before I stole power, before I succumbed to influence, to shrug off cold and have a little bit of magic, and to change my golden eyes into icy blue. What is that worth?
You are an alloy. Iron is strengthened by the charcoal it is forged in. You strengthened yourself with a sliver of ice to face down the winter.
Thorgarn,
Yes.
make an insight check.
30-20.
Looking at Father Griffin with this fierce resolve, and with Drown backing you up unquestioningly, you catch something in Father Griffin's gaze. And you see it. Something you haven't seen since you apprenticed under Father Griffin when he was still alive. That hint of a sly smile, that twinkle hidden behind feigned disappointment when he was trying to get you to see your own strength and to find your own resolve.
Cunning as always.
You think
I'm gonna shake
Moradin
my
would
head.
turn his back on you? Moradin would have taken the blessing of the Frostmaiden himself if he was given the chance. I have no doubt of that.
Speaking of giving and taking, assuage another thing for me, please, Father. Are you here because of me? Are you trapped?
Make another insight check. Do so with advantage.
Take advantage. Advantage didn't help. 17.
This time, the look that crosses Father Griffin's face is not one of feigned disappointment. You see a little bit of pain, and he hesitantly meets your gaze. I've only ever been here because you could never let me go.
You are as much a father to me as my real kin.
You've always been like a son to me.
You have provided counsels that I was able to get from none other. It wrenched my heart to know that you died next to me, and yet I lived. But it is my will that keeps you here, keeps you bound to this place in less of an existence, instead of seeing those that you loved that have gone, to truly be with Moradin. And right here, right now, tell me what I need do to release you, to allow you to that which you deserve.
You don't have to do anything, Thorgarn. But let me go.
So he stands up as straight and tall as he can. I dare say he gets to 4 feet tall. Father, I love you. I respect you. I release you. And Thorgarn cannot be any more sure of himself as he says it.
As you say these words, Father Griffin steps forward. I love you too, Thorgarn. I always have. The rest of you standing around, you suddenly see a faint shimmering in the air in front of Thorgarn. And it's not a fully corporeal form, but you see the humanoid outline. It looks a little bit of, it's shimmery, and there seems to be light emanating from it. And it turns and looks around at all of you and says, in a voice that you can all hear, be good to one another and keep each other alive. Love and protect each other. May the blessing of Moradin be with you all. And there's suddenly a bright flare of light, and you all have no choice but to look away. Or, well, you do have a choice. You can look at it, but you will be temporarily blinded if you do. I'm gonna look.
I will absolutely not look away. And there's already, just tears running down the side of his eyes anyway. So whatever, what's a little bit more? I can blame it on the light. Yeah, that's why I'm crying.
As Father Griffin's spiritual life force bursts into radiance around you, and you are all momentarily blinded by this, all of you are granted a charm of heroism. The charm of heroism allows you to give yourself the benefit of a potion of heroism as an action. Once you do so, it's gone. Basically, as an action, you can give yourself 10 temporary hit points for 1 hour. So I'll paste this text into the chat so you can add that.
If it's all right with you, I'm just going to grab a potion of heroism.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to do it, because you can't add charms and boons. So if you want to add the potion of heroism, and you can customize the name if you want to or whatever, but everybody will have that at their disposal. When the flare of light vanishes, Thorgarn, you are not blinded. You are left standing there in what seems now a very dim room. For the first time in however many years, you look over your shoulder, and Father Griffin is no longer there. You see sitting on the table where you set it, the statue of Moradin, the marble statue, is whole. But there is gold filling in the cracks where the pieces were assembled. I believe that's called kitsune. No, that's not right. It's a kitsune. I think it's a fox.
Not unless you're feeling foxy.
I was say, wait, that's something entirely different.
I think it's Kinsakura or
Kinsakura, yeah, something like that. But anyway, the statue of Moradin is repaired, and you know without a doubt that Moradin never left you. The dream was a representation of your own dealing with your own insecurities, and a manifestation, and nothing more than a dream, really.
Talmud, from the floor, leaning up on the bench that's nearby, kind of rubs the corners of his eyes. I think I might still be a little drunk. Kind of looking in the direction of where you saw Father Griffin.
No, cousin, that happened. Still trying to compose himself. Like I said yesterday, a lot keeps happening.
Are you okay?
I'll be fine. Not fine at the moment, but I will be.
All right. Well, if you need anything.
Right now, the thing I kind of need is something to do. Were we planning to relax, or were we planning to head out and got people to save? And
we know that we must eventually go to the Wrecked Glacier. Yes.
Yes.
Also curious dream of where we last saw Arviatres and everything like that, and she'll relay what she kind of had pictured in her trance state. So there's that too.
Well, we kind of heard a rumor that Arviatres had a mate. So it's possible that she or he picked up the body, or had its minions pick up the body. Dragons tend to have minions, don't they?
Do you wish to go to the site of the dragon's death?
Might not be a bad idea to check and make sure.
We have the dolls that were left for us by the nature spirits. Those might serve as a key to bring us there.
What about a part of the dragon itself?
The scale?
Not bound enough to the location.
It wasn't all that far from Lonelywood either, was it?
Or perhaps Bryn Shander.
It was because of the blizzards, it was a few days outside of Lonelywood. It was in the area between, you were on the road from Tourmaline heading towards Bryn Shander when you got a little lost in the blizzard. And that's when you encountered Arviatres. Without blizzard conditions, that location is maybe a day and a half from Lonelywood, if that. Because
so we could go to Lonelywood and then just walk to the.
And Lonelywood is where we left Gesha?
That's where we have a house.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And we could also actually have a conversation with the people and let them know. I mean, obviously they know that the dawn has happened and there's been a change, but
yeah, probably want to update them on developments.
Suggest that they stop sacrificing people.
That I could take care of right now.
I would imagine those that are cunning enough will understand if she's holding the night at bay or keeping the dawn at bay, and the dawn happens, the sacrifice is probably stopped.
One hopes.
Some people hold on to traditions for much sillier reasons.
Yes. Well, do we wish to return to Lonelywood then?
So do we have to pack Fig back up into a ball? Does the new head
Oh my god.
does the new head go in?
Did you turn him off and turn him back on again?
So you were able to unattune.
Detune? Oh boy.
Downtune. You were able to unattune to Fig's Mind Stone. So you lose the benefit of that. But Fig has not attuned to his new head yet.
Sure. Well, we basically with Cantriel's
Match.
Arcana check, we knew it's all up to Fig now. So
Yep. So yeah, you can easily transform Fig back into sphere form and put the pieces into the Hat of Holding without any issue. Reconfigure. I love that.
Yeah, it's
Talmud
awesome, man.
Talmud 100% put the head of snow that he made into Fig's hat when Thorgarn wasn't looking.
Sploosh.
For some reason, for a while, whenever you pull something out of the Hat of Holding, it's wet.
Oh god. Oh god.
It's damp, soggy.
There is nothing
Moist.
worse than finding something
gonna
wet
say-
when
No,
you
let's not go
don't
there.
expect it to be so. That is the worst.
To me, it
sensation.
just invokes the feeling of stepping into water while wearing stocking feet.
Stockings, Jacob.
Socks. I don't know why I said stockings.
Fancy.
You don't know what's going on under this frame.
Cannot open the book of his
at all.
life and
Careful.
jump into the middle.
Right.
Careful.
No judgment.
Anyway,
Cool.
so yes, you're able to reconfigure the body and place it in the hat. So, what's the plan? Teleporting to Lonelywood,
Hey there, lonely wood.
which is
I think so.
a familiar location to you.
I will. In fact, I have a sliver of wood from the Lonelywood home. So,
I'm gonna say I thought you
Hello.
did take something
Token.
when you left. So
so Drown reaches into one of his pouches, fishes around, and takes out a little parchment kind of packet with a little splinter of wood in it. Holds it up and looks around, and when sees that everyone's ready, activates the helmet.
Whoosh.
which home was it that you took the sliver from? Was it from
Ours, the house we were given.
your new place?
The inn.
Yeah, not the inn. But I guess it was an inn at one point or something.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
We were given a building, an abandoned building
And
to-
Yesh is there
for our
taking care of
use.
it.
Yeah, and Yesha and
And Verity is there.
what? Oh my gosh!
her boyfriend.
I have it written down. The piece of paper I have it written down. I cannot find that notebook. So I'm gonna have to go back and look.
I need to.
Unless somebody remembers what the name of that guy was, the
I don't.
half elf that she took a
The half elf
fancy
who
to.
greeted us was
Yeah.
Ravos.
Ravos, yes. He had a last name, but I don't recall that either.
Never got the last name.
But Ravos, yeah. So they were going to occupy the inn, or she was, and he was going to help with Ramshackle. That's the name of the house.
That's right.
Um,
I go to update that.
so there is that familiar change in sensation, as all of you are suddenly no longer in Rollo's house of affirmation, and you just suddenly find yourself back into the first floor of the Ramshackle in. However, it is not a barren building that was full of logs and chopped wood and such. You all collapse into a heap, into couches and chairs that look as if they may have actually been taken from the upper floor of Nimsy Huddle's home that you stayed in. There was that eclectic collection of multiple armchairs and beds and couches, and they're arranged in here, and you hear a very startled gasp from about 15 feet away. And then you hear a familiar voice say, "Talmud!" And Talmud, you are just embraced completely as Yesha comes running over and throws her arms around you.
Yeah, he returns the embrace, like picking her up off of the floor and like spinning around. "I'm so glad to see that you're fine. Look around this place. Look what you've done. This is incredible."
We didn't know. We didn't know if and when you were going to come back. And we began to worry the longer you were gone. But about 3 days ago, the sun rose. And it was the most glorious thing. And I told Nimsy and Ravels and everyone that would listen, they don't call them the Dawnbringers for nothing. I'm betting they had something to do with this. They'll be back, you'll see.
Here we are. You were right all along.
Did you actually do it?
Bring the dawn? Aye.
And the Frostmaiden?
I think we finally might have seen the last of her. We had to kill her several times. I don't even remember how many times, honestly. But I think she's gone for good now.
I think it was 5 or 6.
I believe it was 5.
Here you are.
The worm wasn't her.
Let me find it here. Where did it go? I seem to have lost it. I cannot remember what Nimsy's kids' names were.
Well,
one of them is Scoop.
A dozen of them, something like that.
The only one I have written down is Scoop.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't find them here, but I mean, it's not like I knew you were going to go right to Lonelywood, so I didn't have that set of notes ready right away. So since you have Scoop, we'll say that when after a few moments of greeting you, Yesha walks back over to what is the restored. You see, of course, there's a fire burning in the hearth, and everything's been cleaned, and there's plenty of decorations everywhere. There's an actual functioning front desk to this place, and she goes over and she grabs a little handbell and rings it, and Scoop comes running in from a back room and immediately runs to Talmud and tackles him, because Talmud had spent quite a bit of time wrestling around with the kids at Nimsy Huddles, and so you would recognize him right away. But Yesha breaks him away really quickly and says, "Scoop, go and tell your mother and tell everybody who will listen. The Dawnbringers are dead. The Dawnbringers are dead.
Whoa!
No.
I'm too excited. The Dawnbringers are back, and the Frostmaiden is dead." As soon as I said it, I'm like, wait, something sounds very wrong in this sentence.
The Dawnbringers are dead and the Frostmaiden is back.
We don't know what happened, But
Season
that
5,
night,
we all play undead versions.
that night, the campaign took a very weird turn. But anyway, Scoop goes running out, and you just hear breathless yells of Dawnbringers, Dawnbringers, as he goes running, and he took the bell from Yesh, and he's just ringing the bell as he runs down the street. Yesha sort of just tells you a little bit, you've been gone at this point for more than a 10-day, with all of your traveling and stuff, and tells you that we had hope when the sun came up, and the nights didn't seem quite as cold. We had hope that you had succeeded and the Frostmaiden was gone. And we can only hope that hope is spreading to all of the other towns. Nimsy says that if it's true, they're going to want all the townspeakers to gather, probably in Bryn Shander, so they can start to plan for what's next. But first and foremost, I can guarantee you Lonelywood is about to see the biggest damned party they've seen in a long time. And she sort of cocks her ear to the side, and Cantriel, you absolutely can hear what she hears as you hear a commotion outside. And as you all step outside the doors of Ramshackle and into the streets of Lonelywood, you see the entire town emerging. You see people coming up from the docks. You see people coming out of their places of work. And you even look and you can see from down the street as Nimsy Huddle is sort of hesitantly walking with Scoop sort of pulling at her arms, trying to drag her through the street. And you can almost hear her scolding him to calm down, just wait a minute. And then she looks up and she just holds her hand up, and then she reaches down and sort of pulls her apron up to dab at her eyes. And Nimsy Huddle runs towards you like she's not run in a long time, as the entire town is gathering around and begins chanting the name of the Dawnbringers. And I think that's a good place to end for tonight. As you have arrived back in Lonelywood, heroes, and you can begin to make your plans for what else you need to do and want to do while here in Icewind Dale. And hopefully...
Finally, a town that fucking likes us.
Right? Bryn Shander, didn't hate you. It was just a very dark and you showed up during a
Kind of the same.
during the sacrifice night.
I think it's a little bit the other way around on Bryn Shander.
Yeah, yeah.
Bryn Shander definitely had some Saltmarsh vibes to it. It was like, I don't really like this place. But yeah, hopefully next week Em will actually be able to join us, and hopefully Katie will be feeling better and can join us as well. Goblin Katie will, the plan is that Goblin Katie will be with us through the rest of the season, however long that may be. But this was good. You got to, I honestly came into the session tonight not knowing what was going to happen. I had no idea how you were going to want to deal with the aftermath, and you went right into fig triage mode, and crafting, and then an absolutely incredible scene with Thorgarn sort of realizing his own potential, gaining his true confidence, and realizing that the power to release Father Griffin, if nothing else, there was truth in that statement from the Frostmaiden, and it seemed to light a fire under Thorgarn. So that was really cool. I would say I had at least 3 different things I was going to potentially do with that scene. And I was just watching and listening as you guys were role playing that. So that was a lot of fun for me too. I love seeing just when the characters, when you and your characters surprise me. So yeah, you guys got a few things to figure out for next week as a group, what you want to do and where you want to go. And at this point, I don't know. We've got anywhere from probably one to 5 or more sessions left in this season. It really is going to be dictated by. I know there's more than one session. I'd say there's probably 3 to 6 sessions left if I had to guess. So, but I'm not going to force it. It's over when it's over because I want to make sure you guys all do everything that you want to do and yeah. So. Before we get out of here, just a reminder, tomorrow at noon Eastern, you can tune into Nerdarchy Live on YouTube. Our sponsor, Talon and Claw, Anthony, is going to be on Talon and Claw, possibly wearing meat sweats. We'll see. But nonetheless, that's got to be, is most likely going to be a really good conversation. Dave does good live interviews on the show, and Anthony's a great guy, and love to hear what he has to say on the show tomorrow. And then I believe Sunday night, the over on Talon and Claw, myself and Travis and Gary and Anthony will be playing Sea of Thieves again. We were off for the break, for the holiday, but we'll be back on Sunday, and then Monday, Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries, right here at 8 p.m. Eastern. For those of you that may not have watched any of those, or you're behind on Dawnbringers, I spent the last 2 weeks uploading every last VOD that I was backlogged on. All 15 episodes of Scribes and Scrolls are up. And all but tonight's episode of Dawnbringers are up on youtube.com/mini terrain domain. Does anybody else have anything, any charity events or any big announcements coming up in the next week or so?
Yeah.
What you got?
After you're done over at Nerdarchy, come over to CNE on Twitch, and I'm going to be doing a new show called Paint and Slay with Lauren Urban. We're going to be painting some fun little figures tomorrow, so come and join us if you want to catch a painting stream, and that's going to be at 12 p.m. Pacific time, so 3 p.m. Eastern.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I probably don't have to say this, but if you haven't seen any of the previous painting streams that V's done with Whiz Kids, or even before that, the old classic lunchtime live streams, you're in for a treat. And it's a double treat because Lauren is an awesome human being as well. So yeah, I'll be checking that out as well. I'll be on the clock still, so I'll throw that video up in the corner and join you all in the chat. So all right, I guess that's it. I do want to say, just once again, a huge thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for those that we had a couple of raids, a couple of subs. Reminder that you can support the channel here through Ko-Fi at ko-fi.com/mtdjake. And those do translate into domain dice as well during the games. And if you were lurking tonight, you weren't participating in chat, but you were quietly watching the background, that's awesome. We appreciate you too. And of course, I have to say a huge thank you, as always, to the amazing humans that make up the Dawnbringers. Thank you to Dan, V, Ted, Jeremy, and though they weren't with us tonight, they were with us in spirit, Goblin Katie, and M, without whom it would just be me talking to myself for a couple of hours. With that, we are going to end tonight's stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want.
The rubbish is finally gone.